Okay, will you please start the broadcast?
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. At least it is morning here in Berlin, a wonderful city filled with evidences of the fourth ray soul of Germany. I'm very happy to be with you this morning. In front of us we see the illustration that Francis Donald has provided us with, and in a few moments we will be discussing that. We are today in the day of dedication. We're starting a little earlier due to my schedule. So the actual full moon is tomorrow, at least. It is tomorrow at 6:52 p.m. GMT. And we have, therefore, about 36 hours before the full moon, but we are well within the period of preparation. The Cancer full moon gives us the opportunity to come en rapport with the meaning of the moon and also the meaning of Neptune. The moon represents the entire elemental nature of man, the lunar nature, and it is that which must be elevated and raised into the category of the Deva. Every one of the vehicles, of the personality vehicles, is represented by the moon, and the entirety of the vehicles themselves. Of the non-sacred planets, the moon represents particularly the outer physical form, the dense physical form, which is an inheritance from the past, especially from the previous solar system. And it is this which has to be elevated, etherealized, redeemed, and made responsive to the themes and powers of the second solar system, our solar system, ruled by the divine ray, which is called the ray of love wisdom. The moon is very correlated with the previous ray, with the primordial ray, the green ray, the third ray of active intelligence. Eventually, we find the esoteric ruler and the hierarchical ruler both the same. Neptune, the god of the Buddhic plane, also of the astral plane in a lesser way, and of the monadic plane, and even finally in extension of the cosmic astral plane, toward which the particular spiritual hierarchy, let's call it a creative hierarchy, ruled by Cancer, is tending. This is the hierarchy which is almost liberated onto the plane, which for us is the plane of pure love, the cosmic astral plane. And it is said to be veiling the Christ. So in many ways, although Cancer is a very material sign, representing the material embodiment of all the subjective factors, it is as well, interestingly, a sign which attunes us intuitively with subjective life and with wholeness. It is particularly the task of the intuition to reveal wholeness, and interestingly enough, in Cancer we discover that the whole is seen as one. So the possibility of seeing all things together collected into a wholeness is revealed by Cancer. Here we have the Jafra illustration, And we see how prominent are the claws of the crab. We see it's somewhat drawn in the green color, representing again the third ray. It's the third ray of active intelligence and the seventh ray of magical order that are particularly working through this sign at this time. We see the hands are very prominent, and there is a certain quality of grasping or attachment associated with this sign Cancer, and from which we must liberate ourselves. The theme of the home or the house is very strong. We have the shell, maybe the chambered nautilus is suggested, with all of these chambers representing each one of them a particular incarnation. In the distance as well, we see sort of the impregnable fortress, and that is what the personality can become unless it is first rendered translucent and then finally transparent. We see the goddess Artemis, the goddess of the moon, hunting, and interestingly, if anyone attempts to defile her, which is the entire lunar nature, she drives them mad. So the theme of madness associated with both the moon and Neptune is associated with this sign, and it is a reminder to us that we have to keep the lunar nature pure in all aspects, if it is not to run away with us and become overstimulated and obscure the inner solar light. Ideally, we have to build a lighted house out of all of our vehicles. I build a lighted house and therein dwell. Now, this can be every one of the personality vehicles and the personality itself, and it can also be the inner temple. The temple, which is found on the higher mental plane, we call it the causal body, or the true body of bliss to which the individual returns after every incarnation. This is our more permanent home, and this vehicle, which begins also as a kind of a lotus construction, the egoic lotus, must become thoroughly luminescent, thoroughly irradiated by all the many, many colors, must become a great temple of light. And so we are building that lighted house as well. And as for the temple of the monad, sometimes called the temple of Ezekiel, well, we'll give that over to time and its development. And one day that must be the fully radiant temple in which the liberated consciousness lives. So we have the themes here of imprisonment. The blind unit is said to be lost at the very beginning of incarnation. It is this sign in which the humanity takes its first incarnation. It is the lower of the gates into the fourth kingdom of nature, the gate into life, so-called life, the door into life of those who must know death. And later, of course, it is opposed by the Capricorn gate leading into the fifth kingdom. But this is particularly the fourth kingdom, and the moon, interestingly enough, is associated with the fourth ray, the lower part of the fourth ray, which gives us imprisonment within the cube, or imprisonment within the square, within the elemental kingdom. And indeed, for so long, we are members of the mass consciousness and have no true individuality, no true illumination, no true solar life. But gradually, this condition of limitation gives way to a liberated condition of perceived wholeness, in which Neptune attunes us with the solar flames of the heart of the sun, the true soul of our solar God. And Neptune is also leading us into the solarity of the sign Leo. So these two signs, which represent, in a way, the personality and the soul, are both eventually ruled by Neptune, which tells us that the energy of the heart of the sun will come forth and align us with the great consciousness of our solar God. We have here some notes from Francis, And let's take a look at this marvelous, really beautiful rendering. Take a good look, and then we will go back and forth and try to describe this somewhat. It looks, a bit like one of the ancient monolithic temples, such as Stonehenge. The cosmic element is very strong, and you do see up here the different planetary rulers of each one of the gates. They are, as Francis will tell us, the hierarchical rulers. The whole image is done in a deep blue, an indigo quality to it, and interestingly enough, of all of the planets, it is Neptune, physically, which evidences the deepest blue, far more deep than Uranus. Francis says, we stand before the ancient Cancerian portal that leads into human incarnation, a kingdom we first entered in an eon-long past. So here is that portal, the door into life of those who must know death, the death of a constricted consciousness bound to its observation of elemental life. On the far side of the temple, the portal of Capricorn opens into the realm of the fifth kingdom, its dual apex of hierarchy and Shambhala just hidden from view. And here we have the promise of the fifth kingdom looming ahead, and it seems that the three aspects of man are also represented here. Interestingly, enlarged the personality in the very center of the temple, the soul, and if we look still more deeply, can that be as well the man who is standing in his monadic nature? But anyway, we see that Saturn is the ruler of this portal, the door into life of those who know not death, liberation into the fifth kingdom. Interestingly enough, the Cancerian hierarchy overall is the fifth hierarchy, the fifth of the creative hierarchies. The soul stands at the center, says Francis, by emulating its open-handed gesture. The personality depicted in the foreground has begun to take on the quality of that which with which it has aligned itself, and thus glows with soul light. And we see the emulation of the open-handed gesture. Here is the soul in the deeper blue, and the personality is emulating that gesture and is taking on a quality of soul light. The temple is made up of 12 columns, and the 12 lintels forming 12 portals. The lintels are embossed with the symbols of the esoteric rulers of the 12 astrological signs, and we see this. Here is Neptune before us, ruling the first of the gates into incarnated life in the fourth kingdom. And an interesting way, of course, the moon is very connected with entrance into that kingdom, because it is bondage to the four elements and to the four levels of the dense physical body of our planetary logos, namely the physical, the etheric, the astral, and the lower mental levels. The six potencies, the astrological axes. I think maybe I better make this just a little bigger so you can see it better, I think. Here we go here. The six potencies, or astrological axes, that make up the temple's interior space represent the field of incarnated human experience. This temple is of ancient design. It stretches back to the time of individualization, when the substance out of which it was then fashioned began recording the gradual awakening to soul contact. Okay, so this interior space is the space in which human evolution is undertaken. Now, after aeons of struggle to integrate the personality and gain soul alignment, its opaque stones have begun to gain the color and transparency of the soul that stands at its center. The color and the transparency, the stones gaining this. You'll notice that the Temple of Light is oriented along the Cancer-Capricorn axis. We stand before the first great gate, the gate into human incarnation, looking towards the second, the gate of initiation. Really, that is the first of the great initiations for humanity as a whole. This moving from the third kingdom of nature into the fourth with the assistance of the angelic kingdom. So all of us, one way or another, whether here or perhaps on the moon chain, have come into human form and existence through the gate of Cancer. The geometry of Cancer is the cube, the symbol of the realm of form. It stands for the house that must eventually be lit through the discovery of and orientation towards its hidden central point. That is the seventh point. There's always a six surrounding the seven. The Tibetan tells us the lines become allied and cubes are formed, shielding the inner fire. The altar is prepared and the four square stands. From Cosmic Fire 839. Cancer is the fourth sign, and this four square represents the lower quaternary, the realm of the lunar lords, described as the imprisoning cubes and exemplified by the exoteric rulership of the moon in this sign. And then Francis offers us here a quotation. The following quote gives further insight as to why Cancer is so particularly associated with the realm of form. In Cancer, this living substance, the threefold figure in the image, yes, this is one of the few provocative passages that connect Neptune, the Christ, and the water of life. Neptune, Vishnu, Maitreya, the Christ, and the water of life. Both Neptune and Christ, we are told, preside over the second initiation, and it is inferred that the baptism, the name given to the second initiation, draws its potency from the water of life. These are the higher energies of the cosmic ethers, particularly, which when poured into the ocean of substance, the receptive initiate brings light to the world. Neptune is especially associated with the sea of light and with the type of pure reason which consciousness then can express when immersed in this sea of light. So, when poured in the ocean of substance, the receptive initiate brings light into the world, anchors the influence of the soul on the physical plane by means of the consciousness of the purified initiate. But a shift has occurred, and DK tells us, unlike during Atlantean times, the purification comes as a result of the second initiation, coming as a result, is now by fire, not by water. And in this regard, it's interesting to note that the Tibetan tells us that Neptune is the repository of the solar flame. So it is a planet not only of water, which is in a way the obvious as the god of the seas, but interestingly, it is a planet of lambent solar fire. And it's felt as a great revelatory fluid in the heart center and in the heart and the head, and probably is strongly influencing the 12-petaled egoic lotus. And I have reason to believe that there are 12 divisions in the monadic vehicle as well, associated as it is with Pisces and the 12th sign. So perhaps this fact gives us Neptune's esoteric nature, the unveiled Neptune, capable of releasing the initiate from the thrall of astral glamour. And here's the Tibetan's quotation on this. The unveiled Neptune relates Cancer to no other constellation or sign, for when a man is an initiate, he does not react to ordinary feeling, sentiment, that is liking or disliking, or to personality relations as they express themselves in pleasure or pain. All these are surmounted, and eventually the watery life of emotional reaction is superseded by the life of true and of inclusive love. The mother gives birth to the son, and that individual spiritual entity then stands free. So Neptune associated with true and inclusive love, and Cancer in its higher stages of development associated with the loving inclusivity which only the true intuition of Buddhi and beyond can reveal. So the transition is out of the material aspect of this sign and into something that is far more akin to the great second aspect of divinity. In any case, each one of us has to learn to build the lighted house on a number of different levels. Now I think we can, yes, so thank you, Francis, for this beautiful image to which we will hope to refer at various points during the meditation, it has just a marvelous indrawing quality, and it fills us with this sense of the potential of the fourth kingdom of nature and the potential of truly entering the temple of wisdom and emerging into the fifth kingdom of nature as a true master of the wisdom eventually. So now we will, I think, move into the meditation itself. Here, the days of confidence in relation to the physical plane, aspiration to the astral, and now a day of dedication, which I like to think of this third day as ending 12 hours before the full moon itself. So we have 12 hours on either side, which will be the day of safeguarding, of receiving and holding. The full moon is the 3rd of July for many of us, but if we happen to be living in Australia or New Zealand, then we have the 4th of July, and followed by the 3 days of distribution where we register that which has been impressed. We are filled aspirationally with a sense of expectancy, and finally we have the confirmed belief that all that has been impressed upon our consciousness can manifest in the actuality of physical plane life. Okay, friends, I think we're ready to begin. We do begin by making ourselves physically comfortable. And we begin to withdraw our consciousness from the personality, from all its aspects. We move inward. And we detach ourselves, detach the consciousness from identification with either or any of these vehicles, from the world of the senses, dense physically, from the world of the ethers, from our sentient astral feeling nature, and from the lower mind, and we establish ourselves as the soul in incarnation, a unit of consciousness, a unit of being, an observer of the customary personality environment in which we find ourselves. And we begin to merge into this field, the deeper field of light, love, and spiritual power. We sense ourselves fading away from preoccupation with the personality vehicles, and as if within a world of light, love, and power, an inner temple, not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. And so we find ourselves in the soul field, truly and deeply within that field. identifying far more with that field than with the personality we have left behind. As if we take our place within the center of the egoic lotus, within the central fire, as if within the jewel in the lotus. And from this position we begin to merge with each other in soul. This is the place where merging may be safely undertaken. This is the manner in which we are to draw others to ourselves in soul and not personally. Merging with others in soul according to the law of magnetic impulse, soul union. Until, spread as we are over the entire world, we begin to sense the reality of group soul. Present to each other in consciousness, and actually as one being and one consciousness. We imaginatively begin to include the disciples and initiates of the world, feeling our connection with them. The members of the new group of world servers conceived in the soul sense, wherever they may be located in their outer form. And the men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world, with them we begin to feel that soul union. And gradually touching, as it were, all human beings from the soul perspective. Whether they are in the body or out of the body, it makes no difference. It's as if wherever there is a human being, a human soul, we are there, and there is a sense of shared consciousness, shared identity. Until we can say and truly mean and understand, naught is but me, the one soul of humanity, the one being that humanity is. Naught is but me. A very important realization of wholeness, the wholeness of the human family and the oneness of the human family. And upon this realization we can surely work during these days when the Cancerian energy is strong, and especially during the full moon period. We feel ourselves focused at a point of tension, a point of group tension on the mental plane. That tension to be strengthened by the will of the group soul, all the 7 ray qualities pouring in, strengthening our point of tension, from which point we will seek the illumination which the Antakarana, the rainbow bridge, can bring. And we visualize, each of us, that rainbow bridge, built, as it were, of colored light, according to our soul and personality ray, each of us building the bridge which extends from the mental unit, the point of focus on the mental plane, the point of intention, touching inwardly the higher mind, the intuitional nature, the source also of spiritual will, and eventually the point of pure being itself, the monad. The centrality of the monad giving us the sense of pure being. This Antakarana, built according to the red of the first ray, the indigo of the second, the green of the third, the yellow of the fourth, the orange of the fifth, the silvery rose color or light blue of the sixth, the violet of the seventh, this Antakarana vividly imagined, and if we are not certain of our soul or personality rays, we can use the indigo color, the all-embracing synthetic color of this solar system. And the group Antakarana, like a large cone tending upwards, filled with all the colors of all the bridges, thus representing all the seven rays, is visualized. Touching into the higher worlds, or perhaps tending inward toward the center of a great sphere, where likewise the blue-white diamond of spirit can be visualized. And along that Antakarana we will project the vivid line of brilliant white light. We will use the second ray, word of power. I see the greatest light. We will think that to ourselves, inwardly affirming, I see the greatest light. As we vitalize the entire Antakarana in this stage of projection, while outwardly we sound the sacred word on one of the sacred notes of the second ray, the G. See the greatest light. We have imaginatively entered the world of the spiritual triad together. And as a group invocative center will be open not only to the love and wisdom of the soul, but to the expansive triadal mind, to the revelation of intuition, to the descent of spiritual will, into the sense of pure being, or the presence. And within this downflow, we will conduct our meditation, seeking the light, life, wisdom of the triad. We have in this way entered the world where the masters themselves are focused. They as souls and spirits, and it is in cooperation with them that we pursue our meditation. We offer our solidarity, our pledge, our salutations to these great brothers with whom we cooperate in consciousness and through the right use of energy. Our first salutation to the Christ. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we most closely cooperate. Master M, KH, and DK. Salutations to the Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to the Master Kutumi, coming Christ of the age of Capricorn, the head of the second ray ashram, which is preparing most directly for the reappearance of the Christ. Salutations to the Master Jwalku, who is our most direct teacher and is preparing aspirants for the first 3 initiations. Salutations to your own Master as you know him to be or conceive him to be. And salutations to to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet, to the Great White Brotherhood, the society of organized and illumined minds, and in the firmest brotherhood we work with these great guides of the human race, emulating them and offering our sincerest and most skillful cooperation. And our thought then rises to Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known, and as a group and with deepest reverence and all humility, identified as a group soul together, we seek to attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara standing at the very center of Shambhala. And then inwardly, silently, a long Om, as we imagine the group imbued with the energy, the will, the purpose of the King of Shambhala. We are as if a unit of light, of love and power, all of us as a point. This point is as if hovering above the golden pathway which leads to the center of the indigo sun. We move inward together on the shortening golden path, together, together, as the golden path disappears into the indigo sun. And we are in the midst of the indigo. And from here specifically we can attune with the consciousness of the Master who is training so many on all the rays, Master DK. As if his consciousness can infuse and pervade and overshadow our own, and as if, as we approach the higher energies, we do so also with the aid of his conscious understanding. As if all that we pursue in contact now is undertaken consciously within this indigo sphere, which represents the gateway to the inner worlds. And we will be, from this position, aligning with the planetary rulers of this sign, Cancer. The moon being the exoteric rather, the normal ruler, but not being a source in itself. But rather veiling three sacred planets: Vulcan, associated with the physical nature; Neptune with the sentient, feeling nature; and Uranus with the mental nature. And also, and further, we will be aligning with Neptune, considered as the esoteric ruler, inducing love and compassion and sensitivity within our usual astral emotional nature, replacing desire with love and compassion. And we will further align with the deeper level of Neptune, hierarchically offering us the intuition, the power of identification, and the realization of oneness with all sentient beings. Then we begin with pondering the moon, which is the mother of the form. We ponder it in relation to Cancer, and of course really to the deeper planets behind, Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus. And this energy is conveying to us the power to build the form in such a way that it may be transformed and prove, therefore, a fit vehicle to receive, contain, and radiate the light and love of the soul. The purified moon, the translucent moon, the transparent moon, symbolically, the vessel containing the light. The ray of Vulcan fortifying the physical nature, the ray of Neptune sensitizing the astral nature, the ray of Uranus electrifying, stimulating the mental nature, a fit vehicle, a fit temple to contain and receive the powers of the inner temple. So we open our consciousness to the inflow of these energies veiled by the moon. Sanctifying our lunar nature, rendering it holy and part of the wholeness. And looking into the group, these energies, how are they needed? The Vulcanian, Neptunian, Uranian energies which are building the form into a fit vehicle for the indwelling light, love, and power of the soul and beyond. The group as a vessel, the group is a purified vessel. The group has a lighted house. All of us receiving, not just individually but within group formation, the inner subjective energies for which we provide the eventually transparent vehicle, the group personality, the lighted house. And then our attention turns to Neptune. Beautiful blue planet, showing its essential relation to the energy of love, wisdom, which it expresses monadically. Great Christ-like love coming through this planet when the stormy seas of emotion have been overcome and the love wisdom reflected in the tranquil ocean of the astral plane. The astral body calmed and sensitized and open to the pervasion of the energy of love and wisdom. Through Venus and its higher octave, Neptune. The intuition entering our lives, the boundaries disappearing, the interflowing wholeness revealed, and even the pure being in the field of love, which Neptune can represent in relation to the monadic plane, hierarchically expressing Neptune beneath all the tumult and the clamor and the disturbance, the calmness forever unperturbed, the silence, the pure love wisdom which Neptune eventually conveys. So that we can know that the whole is one, and there is one humanity to which we are sensitized. The group needs this And into the group the energy flows. This marvelous indigo blue. Giving us the calmness to perceive that which the intuition reveals. The wholeness of the human family and of the planet and of the system. The wholeness. We will allow this great blue to flow into our nature. We will use the blue note to be pervaded, because pervasion is very much the quality of Neptune, pervaded by love, wisdom in our group nature. So the group will provide a sea of tranquility in which the higher unitive states of realization can be reflected. And as Neptune represents the solar flames, we see it as related to the heart of the sun, of the solar logos, the blue logos. Perhaps, after all, Neptune is the planet most deeply related to our solar logos, even though it may be somewhat of a visitor in our solar system, the heart of the sun. The sun everywhere visible, when not obscured by the clouds. We know what that means symbolically. And when we see that great golden orb, suggesting the Buddhi, we think of the still deeper blue, also Buddhic, monadic, even cosmic astral, the deeper blue, from our blue logos, in alliance with Neptune. We raise our attention now towards the constellation Cancer, usually so dim as a constellation, seen between Leo and Gemini. Its faintness suggesting the dark light, which Cancer represents, the light within the form. This is the diffused light of substance itself, the dark light of matter, referred to in the secret doctrine. It is the light awaiting the stimulation coming from soul light. This constellation, so powerful in the first part of the earlier solar system, and now powerful in a new way, accorded with love, wisdom, through its highest ruler, Neptune, in this solar system. through it pour the energy of the third ray, connecting to the dense physical plane, and the energy of the seventh connecting etherically. Both aspects of manifestation, etheric and dense, associated with this sign, as well as the great motive power of love, wisdom. And focusing on this constellation working through the sign Cancer and entailing the blue of Neptune and the manifesting power of the third and seventh rays, we ponder on that mantram which we will be holding in our consciousness during these days, the day of the full moon itself and the days of distribution. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. We can conceive of this microcosmically and in the group sense and in relation to the soul, the group soul, and in relation to humanity and its soul, and beyond, in relation to our planetary process and even the lighted vehicle which the solar system is to become as our solar logos progresses. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. I build a lighted house. And I, the spirit soul, the identity of the consciousness, the point of being consciousness, dwell within the various lighted houses that I build. First, I must build the lighted house of personality. So that no opaqueness prevents the shining forth of the inner light. The clean and purified personality can be translucent and then transparent. And then I attend to the building of the soul nature, so that the causal body shines forth with the Buddhic light in all the accumulated and appropriate colors. I build a lighted house of soul, and therein dwell. And eventually that lighted house will take in the triadal vehicles, shining with the light of the planetary Logos himself, and finally, in distant days, when we too are Chohans, the supremely lighted house of the monadic vehicle, and even there is no end. The universe one day will become the fully lighted sphere it is intended to be. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. And if we could be a light to others and preserve the translucence, the transparency of our personality house through which the light of the soul shines, we would be a blessing to all those we encounter, and we would induce translucency, transparency, just by our auric presence, inducing the lighted houses until humanity itself could shine clear and become, as it will be eventually, a lighted house of redeemed substance, matter, the third aspect, matter, being raised into the ability to convey the vibrations of the second aspect. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. And we know the means. A great teaching has given us the means over time and with great patience to build this lighted house. We need only the will and determination to do this, and the persistence which Cancer gives, fortunately. And wherever there is in our nature something that is obscuring the outflow of the light, something that needs to be cleaned, to be rendered less opaque, more translucent, finally transparent, we must do the work. Do the work to clear so that the light may shine forth. And for us especially, let our individual lighted house and our group lighted house be the objects of our attention. And in that way, we can make our contribution to the lighted house of humanity more usefully, more readily, though so much patience will be required. I build a lighted house. and therein dwell. Let us see over the coming days, and the day of the full moon especially, if we can preserve this sense of dwelling in the lighted house of personality, of even dwelling in the lighted house of soul, centralized in the causal body, a great lighted house, centralized in the group soul, I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. And from the one about whom naught may be said, the great central constellation of the Pleiades with its hundreds of stars, so connected in a way with Cancer. The energy goes forth into the constellation Cancer, and through the great solar logos, and touching the veiled planets Vulcan and Uranus, but especially Neptune in its deep blue, and to the earth, and into our monadic nature, into the great monadic circles, the 7 upon the monadic plane, conveying this light, and into every soul, every egoic group, the light coming into every soul, and into the dark matter of personality, illumining it, rendering it translucent, rendering it transparent. The great energy flows into the very matter of our physical bodies, the inner light, awakening from darkness to light, the dark light of our vehicles until we shine. Each one of us providing the temple for the Lord, for the internal Lord, the monad itself, till we know the body as a temple, and the group personality as a temple, and humanity itself as a temple. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. Humanity must become that lighted house. We can look out into the human kingdom. We can see the areas which are especially opaque, resistant to the clear flowing through of the light. Where are they? And we can concentrate together on seeing these areas of human life rendered translucent, rendered transparent. Where does the work have to be done? We can help the light The light of the soul and the higher lights flow into these areas of opacity, these areas which block the flow of the light. We can direct it, directing the light, imagining the translucency of these areas of inhibited light, the eventual transparency of these areas of inhibited light. With our hands raised in blessing, we convey the light so that it can shine forth in these areas of darkness, even through the densest matter. And the transformation can occur in the lighted house, can emerge gradually, first tending to our own lighted house, making sure it really is, and then to the lighted houses of our group and groups, eventually to our nations, our cities, our nations, to humanity as a whole, and finally, of course, the day will come when the earth itself will become a great temple of light. So together, holding our alignment all the way from the Pleiades through Cancer to the Sun, through the planets of Neptune and Vulcan and Uranus, and also through the Earth in its head center, heart center, all the way through to such as we are as individuals and groups. We will sound this great mantram of light and power, the great invocation. We will follow it by the 3 ohms. We will pause between the verses. We sound together. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men. The purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. So friends, we still have all day today, and we're still probably 30-some hours before the actual full moon, which is occurring 6:51:52 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on the 3rd. So let us do our best to live within this beauty of the lighted house, and as we're always carrying our house on our back some way, let us conduct the business of the day in that manner. Live within that lighted house and radiate the light from within the house of matter with which we have clothed ourselves. So we'll be thinking of you at the time of the full moon. Thanks to all of you for attending. I know at a different time, this time, due to circumstances. I appreciate your presence, and we thank Francis for this marvelous image that we can hold in our consciousness as we are attuning with these Cancerian energies. So, farewell everybody, and have a wonderful actual full moon meditation, and I'll try to send this out fairly rapidly so you can use it during days of distribution or during the full moon if you should wish to do so. Bye for now.